Today we're going to talk about episode number 17 from Surah An-Nissa, which is the second to last episode. Meaning, the next episode will be episode 18 and the last one in Surah An-Nissa. We start from verse 160, which says, "Because of the wrongdoing of those who are Jews, we forbade them good things which had been made lawful for them." And that means there's another reason for the prohibition. They're barring many from the path of God. So, the meaning of the verse here is that because of the wrongdoing of the Jews and they're turning people away or preventing people from following the Prophet Muhammad and his religion, we forbade them good meats or the meat of animals. Meaning, those that had previously been lawful for them, or that had not been forbidden to them before. And this is also supported by another verse in the Quran that says, "And to those who are Jews, we forbade every animal with claws." That's Al-An'am 146. All right. Everything that has claws, we forbade it to the Jews for two reasons. The first reason is their wrongdoing. And the second reason is they're turning people away from all that is related to. Yeah, everything connected to the religion that the Prophet Muhammad brought to the people. What's the source that said what I just mentioned? The meaning I just mentioned is from Fath al-Qadir by al-Shawkani. Now, my real question is, what about the Jews who didn't do any wrong? Why should meat or anything with claws be forbidden to them? Like women, for example. Women didn't wrong anyone. Or children. Let's leave women aside. Say women and men turned people away from God's path and did wrong, fine. That's all clear. But what about the children? What did they do to deserve this? That was just a question, that's all. Verse 161 adds to what came before. It connects to the previous points about their wrongdoing and turning people away. And it also adds that they took usury as well. You see, these are more reasons added to the previous ones. Taking usury, even though they were forbidden from it, consuming people's wealth unjustly, and we have prepared for the disbelievers among them a painful punishment. So here again, it says that it's because the Jews accepted usury, which God had forbidden, and accepted bribes in judgment. Meaning, when they were judging between two people, the one who was judging would take a bribe. The Prophet never did that. The Prophet judged fairly and never took bribes. So, for these two reasons, usury and consuming wealth unjustly. So what will happen here? God has prepared for them a painful punishment. Okay, very good. Up to this point we're following well from the source in this verse. Bar al-Ulam, still marking. The point I want to comment on here, it's not a question, it's a comment, is that the punishment for usury and for consuming people's wealth unjustly is postponed until the day of judgment. Notice, he didn't specify a worldly punishment 162. But those firmly grounded in knowledge among them, and the believers, believe in what has been revealed to you and what was revealed before you, and those who establish prayer and give zakat, and those who believe in God and the last day, all of these, we will grant them a great reward. The recitation here. Here there are 3 points. First, or actually 2 points, the recitation and the meaning. Pay attention, and there are questions. All right, let's take the first recitation. Some reciters recite al-Mukamin, the ones who establish, not al-Mukamin. Do you know why? Al-Razikun, the firmly grounded, and al-mu'minun, the believers, imply al-mu'minun with them. All right, it should be in the nominative case, but here it came as al-mu'min in the accusative. What's the story? Why? The important thing is, Aisha was asked about this verse and this word, and they said to her, why? Why is it al-mu'min and not al-mu'min? She answered that the scribes made a mistake. Also, Uthman ibn Affan was asked about the same word in the same verse. He said that there is a grammatical error in the Quran, but the Arabs will correct it with their tongues. It will be straightened out in the future by the tongues of the Arabs. That's what Uthman ibn Affan, who is responsible for compiling the Quran, said when he was asked about this word in that verse. It's clear, right? We're in verse 62 of Surah An-Nissa. Just as a reminder, that's very good. That's regarding the recitation. So what does it mean then? The meaning is that the repentant from among the people of the book, like Abdullah ibn Salam and his companions, and the believers, that is, the believers, meaning the Muhajirin and the Ansar. Very good. These are the ones who believe in what was revealed to Muhammad and what was revealed before him. Exactly. These two groups believe in what was revealed to Muhammad and what was revealed before him. All right. We'll also add to them those who establish prayer and give zakat, and those who believe in God and the last day. All of these. Great. So let's break it down. First, the repentant from the people of the book. Second, the believers from the Muhajirin and Ansar. Third, those who establish prayer, give zakat, and believe in God and the last day. All of these, great. They will have a great reward from God on the day of judgment. That's the meaning. It's all good. Who is the source that says this meaning and mentions the recitation I talked about? The one Aisha and Uthman ibn Affan commented on. Who is saying this? The source is elgendynyc al-Quran by al-Qurtubi. Here are the real questions. All right, what if we remove the word they believe? What flaw would happen in the verse? I mean, what is he saying? Let me read you the two verses. He says, but those firm in knowledge among them, and the believers believe. Do the believers disbelieve? Of course, it's natural that the believers are believers. You're saying the believers, all right. The believers believe in what was revealed to you. The believers in what was revealed to you. All right, so if we remove the word believe, that's material. What is the flaw that will happen or occur in the verse? That was actually my question. The second question is, what is the wisdom behind mentioning and those who believe in God and the last day after, and the believers in what was revealed to you? Because what was revealed to you naturally includes faith in God and the last day. 163. We have revealed to you as we revealed to Noah and the prophets after him. And we revealed to Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, the tribes, Jesus, Job, Jonah, Aaron, and Solomon, and we gave David the Psalms. So, what is the reason for the appearance of this verse here? Its appearance is because Jews asked the prophet to bring down a book from the sky in verse 163. The women said to him, "Go up to your Lord, bring us a book, and come down so we can believe you." God told him they were being too demanding. Their ancestors demanded of Moses, "Let your Lord show himself to us openly." If you remember from the last episode, This verse appeared because the Jews asked Prophet Muhammad to bring down a book from the sky for them. Where is that? It's in verse 153 of Surah An-Nissa. We talked about it in the last episode. Exactly. And the Jews said, God has not set down anything to any human after Moses. So that's when the verse appeared right away, which is 13 hours, 60 minutes, the one we're discussing, when they said there's nothing. When they asked the prophet to bring down a book from God for them, and they said that nothing was revealed to any creature except Prophet Moses. So this verse that we're talking about came down to respond to them. That's it. Very good. So that's the reason for the appearance of the verse. All right, very nice. So what does it mean then? It means the meaning of these words. And I'll tell you who mentioned this. I'll tell you the source that explains the reason for the verse's revelation from one side. The meaning I'll explain from another side. Source now. God addressed the prophet, revealing to him as to Noah and other prophets. Also to Abraham, Ishmael, and Jacob's sons, and to Jesus, Job, Jonah, Aaron, and Solomon. Sorry, I'm looking because I can't remember all the names, all right? We also gave David the Psalms, the Torah to Moses, and the Gospel to Jesus. All right, so the meaning of the verse is that we revealed to you just as we revealed to all of them. All right, so Prophet Muhammad is not unique in receiving revelation. Rather, God has revealed to all of these as well. Very good. Who is the source that said these two things, the reason for the appearance of the verse, and the meaning of these words? Yes, we have revealed to you just as we revealed to all of them. The source is Majma al-Bayan fi Tasir al-Quran by Al-Tabarsi. The question is, what is the connection between this verse and the one before it? This verse talks about the revelation to the prophets, Jonah, Jesus, Moses, Solomon, Aaron, revelation. The one before it talks about the repentant Jews, like Abdullah ibn Salam and his companions. And all of this, what does it have to do with verse 144? What does it say? It says, and there are messengers we have told you about before, and messengers we have not told you about, and God spoke to Moses directly. Okay, fine. The primary reason this particular verse appeared is that when the initial part of the surah was revealed, it was in response to a specific event. The Jews said, why didn't God mention Moses? So then it was revealed, and God spoke to Moses directly, meaning when the first half or the first 2/3 of the verse was revealed. And messengers we have told you about before, and messengers we have not told you about. The Jews wondered, why wasn't the prophet Moses mentioned in the verse? So then it appeared, and God spoke to Moses directly. All right. So what's the meaning here? What does this verse mean? It means, let's sum it up. It means that God truly spoke to Moses directly. The word directly here is an emphatic verbal noun. He spoke using the verbal noun directly. This means that God spoke to Moses without any intermediary. He spoke directly, did the action, mentioned it explicitly. So you're emphasizing the verb spoke with the verbal noun directly. This means, according to our source, that God spoke to Moses directly, without any intermediary or revelation like an intermediary, like Gabriel with the prophet Muhammad or others. No, he spoke to him himself. Pay close attention. Who is the source that says God spoke to Moses directly without an intermediary, and says that the proof is the emphasis of the verbal noun for the verb? That's the source. It's Lubab al-Tawal fi Mani al-Tanzil by Al-Kazim. Alright, those are the questions here. Now let's ask. Pay attention, because this is the real point here. I've been asked about this story so many times before, and I said I wouldn't talk about it until I got to it. And here we are, we've reached it. What's the first question? What language did God use to speak to Moses? That's the first question, all right. The second question, how far apart were they? 10 years, 10 kilometers, 1,000,000 kilometers. We don't know. That was a question. All right. How long did the conversation last? A day, 2 days, 3, 5, an hour, a minute. What did we want here? We wanted someone to enlighten us about this. The second question, what were the topics that God discussed with Moses? All right. And does God's voice sound like a human voice? Or does it have something different about it? Is it like a ringing sound, like what happened with Prophet Muhammad? And did Prophet Moses understand the meaning of that ringing? Or was it a direct language? All right, here as well. A third question, what is the difference between God's conversation with Moses and Prophet Muhammad when he was taken up to God on Isra and Miraj? He spoke to the prophet without direct speech. He spoke to Prophet Muhammad, but he spoke to Moses directly. So what's the difference between the two? Between God's conversation with Moses and God's conversation with Prophet Muhammad? We wanted to know. These were questions for those who want to think about them, for those who want to answer them, for those who want to research. I mean, this is an issue. Okay, I want to say that God did not actually speak to Moses in the first place. Why? Because God is spirit, and a spirit does not produce matter. A spirit does not produce matter. A spirit is a spirit. You get what I mean? And I will prove this point of view to you from the Quran itself, all right. First, the evidence that God is spirit is this. So we breathed into him of our spirit. That's what God says. So we breathed into him of our spirit. That was in Surah At-Tarim, verse 12. All right. So when I have fashioned him and breathed into him of my spirit, fall down in prostration to him. Okay. Hajj 29. Stone 29. The Messiah, Jesus, the Son of Mary, was the messenger of God and his word which he directed to Mary, and a spirit from him. Women 171. I brought her the next episode. That's it. All of this confirms to you that God is spirit and not matter. Here speech is sound, and sound is good material. The soul does not produce matter. This is an understandable issue. I mean, by the way, matter produces other matter, but the spirit does not produce matter. So the act of speaking with the act of God's speech, because speaking is an action, he spoke, the verb spoke. God spoke to Moses directly. This simply means that God is connecting the act of speaking with Moses in a specific time, place, and event. You get what I mean? So what does this mean here? It means that God becomes relative, moving from the absolute to the relative. And here, factors of time come into play. When did he speak? Just like I might ask, what did you talk about? He spoke the language he spoke with. That can't be attributed to God. God does not speak. Pay attention to this point. All right. Honestly, in my opinion, the solution was in studying Jalal al-Din al-Suyuti's perspective, where he said that God inspired the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad and the Prophet Muhammad. That is, he gave the Prophet Muhammad the main outlines of the message: justice, faith in God, truth, and honesty. Don't lie, don't kill, and don't steal. Just like all religions and all good principles. And it was the Prophet Muhammad who expressed the Quran in the language of his people. And this is supported by the Quran itself when it says that the Quran is the word of a noble messenger. It is a statement, not a revelation of revelation. We said it's from God, but the statement is from the Prophet. It is the word of a noble messenger. This was in Surah At-Takwir, verse 19. Pay attention to that. So we mentioned earlier the perspective of the Tunisian thinker, Youssef Sedik, who said that the Quran is divine revelation, but the Mushaf is a prophetic statement or a human creation. 135 messengers as bearers of good news and warners, so that people would have no argument against God after the messengers. And God is mighty, wise. The meaning? What does this mean? God is saying, I sent these prophets to my servants to give them good news and to warn them, giving glad tidings to those who obey me of reward, and warning those who disobey me of punishment, so that people would have no excuse for argument on the day of judgment. The messenger told you, either you follow him and earn reward and enter paradise, or you disobey and get punished and enter hell. That's it. What's the source? Al-Tibyan, the comprehensive book of Quranic sciences, for reference. All right, here's a question. What's the connection? Why does the verse say God is mighty and wise? Because he has already repeated it before. In the last episode, we pointed this out when he said, but God raised him up to himself, and God is mighty and wise. He says, messengers as bringers of good news and warners. He sent messengers as bringers of good news and warners, so that people would have no argument against God after the messengers. Very good. And God is mighty and wise. Mighty in what? You get it? And wise in what? It's not that he's just mighty and wise in general. I'm talking about the verse. Can someone explain it to us? I don't get it. All right, 166. But God bears witness to what he sent down to you with his knowledge, and angels bear witness, and God is sufficient a witness. There are two opinions about this, about the reason for its revelation, guys. The first opinion, a group of Jews, they came to the Prophet Muhammad. They came in to see the Prophet, and as soon as they entered, he said to them, by God, I know that you know I am the messenger of God. They said to him, we don't know anything about that. So when they came in to see him, the Prophet, when a group of Jews came in to see him, he said to them, by God, I know that you know I am the messenger of God. They said to him, no, your point of view is wrong. We do not know that you are the messenger of God. You see? So what happened next? The verse was revealed. Who said this? Ibn Abbas. All right. The other view appeared when the verse was revealed. We have revealed to you as we revealed to Noah and the prophets after him. And we revealed to Abraham and Ishmael, the one we mentioned. That is, the verse in An-Nissa 163. You did it? The Jews responded to him and said, "No, we do not testify to that for you, you see." Then the verse appeared, which is the same as here. But God is the one who says to him, "We do not testify that you are God, and that he revealed to you, nor anyone else." Okay, so go, what do you say to him? But God knows it's not just that. The angels also testify that this Quran was revealed, that is, it was revealed to you. Okay, who has this other opinion? Ibn Jarir. Okay, very sweet. This means they had two opinions about the reason for revelation. The group of Jews who entered upon him, and he said to them, "I swear to God that I know that you know that I am the messenger of God." And the second, when the verse, "We have revealed to you," was revealed, they said to him, "Neither have I revealed to you nor to anyone else. We do not testify that you have received any revelation or anything." So what happened? The verse appeared, "But God and the angels bear witness." This is verse 166. The important thing is, if the Jews did not testify that God sent down the Quran to you, God himself bears witness to that, even if they did not. I bear witness for you, because God is the one who authored it. I'm just reading to you what the source says. I'm not giving my own opinion, because God is the one who composed the Quran in a style that all the masters of eloquence among humans are incapable of matching. Very good, and not just that. The angels also bear witness for you that this Quran was sent down to you from where? From God, and God is sufficient as a witness. That's the meaning. The Jews do not bear witness, but God, prophet, and angels bear witness for you. And God is sufficient as a witness. Very good. So who is the source? Ru al-Mani. Al-Alusi is the one who said everything I just mentioned back in 1960. Here are the questions. Does God bear witness to the truth of the Quran that he revealed to the Prophet Muhammad just because the Jews do not bear witness? Well, let them bear witness or not. What's the problem? You see, I think that most of these verses were actually a reaction to the Jews, their stubbornness, their denial. In any case, I don't know how God put himself in this challenge with the Jews. Here, there's also a question. What's the connection between this verse and the ones before it? This verse is talking about God's testimony to the truth of the Quran that he revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. In other words, God is bearing witness for himself. All right, very good. The previous verse talks about sending prophets to people as bringers of good news and warners. So what's the connection between this and that? That was actually my question. Exactly. And then it says here, what's the next question? Since at the end you say, and God is sufficient as a witness. So what's the point of the angel's testimony then? Why are you saying God is sufficient as a witness if God's testimony alone is enough? So what's the need for the testimony of the Jews then? Or for the testimony of the angels? I don't really know. Here's the last question. What is the wisdom behind An-Nissa he sent down? Let's look at the verse again. But God bears witness to what he has sent down to you. And then he repeats, he sent it down twice. Okay, let's try removing the word he sent it down. But God bears witness to what he has sent down to you by his knowledge. Not he sent it down by his knowledge. Let's read it without he sent it down. So, but God bears witness to what he sent down by his knowledge, and angels bear witness. Honestly, I don't know if removing he sent it down from the text or verse would cause any flaw. I don't understand why. Alright, 167. Those who disbelieved and turned others from God's path have truly gone astray. This means those who rejected truth Prophet Muhammad brought, turned from Islam, and prevented others. So what about them? They've strayed from the truth. It's simple, no question. Intermediate source in Quran interpretation by Sheikh Muhammad Sayyid Tantawi. But the simple question is, what's the connection between this verse and the one before it? This verse talks about the misguidance of those who disbelieved in God, while the previous one talks about God bearing witness to the Prophet regarding the truth of the Quran revealed to him. So what's the connection between this and that? Honestly, that's the question. Here's a comment. Verse 167 didn't specify any worldly punishment, even for the disbeliever who turned people away from God's path. I mean, it's not just disbelief. It's also turning people away from God's path. Anyone who tries to go to the Prophet Muhammad, or to the Quran, or to God, and this person blocks them, you see, he's only described as misguided. Let me read it to you again. Here it is. Those who disbelieved and turned people away from the path of God. It doesn't say burn them, or consider them apostates, or put them in dungeons. The whole thing is just, they have gone far astray. That's all there is to it, really. 168. God will not forgive or guide those who disbelieved and did wrong. This applies to they disbelieved and did wrong. Their punishment, God will not forgive or guide them. This covers 2 verses, with no worldly punishment for disbelievers, wrongdoers, or those who turn people away from God's path. See, man, the words are perfectly clear. Those who disbelieved and wronged themselves and others through sin and disobedience. God will not forgive them nor guide them to the path of truth and righteousness. That's the whole point, straight from the source. Al-Sheikh outweighs it in the interpretation of the Quran by Sheikh Muhammad Sayyid Tantawi, because the 2 verses are connected. Those who disbelieve did this, and those who disbelieve did that. Meaning, indeed, those who disbelieve starts in verse 167, with those who disbelieved and turned others away. And in 168 it says, those who disbelieved and wronged. So it's basically the same thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the 2 verses could have been combined into 1 verse, because they basically have exactly the same meaning here. 169, and this is the last one, is about the way to hell, where they will remain forever. That is easy for Allah. Allah will not guide those who disbelieved. Indeed, those who disbelieve God will not guide them to any way except to the path of hell. They have disbelieved. Our Lord will not guide them to any way except to hell. The path of hell is good, and they will abide therein eternally. Source: Guidance of the Sound Mind to the Merits of the Holy Book. For Abu al-Sa'd, the question here is, has anyone ever claimed that putting the disbelievers in hell is a difficult matter? Because the verse says this is easy for God, and it is easy for God. But who said it was difficult? God is capable of everything. I thank you all, and I apologize if I took too long. And we have, God willing, the next episode. Yeah, episode 18, which is the last one from Surah An-Nissa. And I'll talk to you in the next episode. We'll discuss what we'll do after finishing this surah. Thank you. I wish you best and safety, and I'll see you next Friday in the final episode of Surah An-Nissa.